Raúl Castro was being feted by the French, walking up a red carpet to a government palace in Paris during a state visit in 2016, when irate photographers began to yell in the direction of the then Cuban president, "Please, bodyguard!" The photographers shouted at the Cuban official, who was on Castro's heels and spoiling their shot.
And to many Ukrainians and Europeans, the European Union's unlocking of a 90 BN Eurod 105 BN loan to Ukraine on April 23 was a bittersweet victory because it came with a multi-billion-dollar gift to Russia. EU member Hungary agreed to lift a veto on the loan after Ukraine mended the Druzhba pipeline, which traverses its territory and supplies with Hungary with Russian oil.
The Palestinian Football Association, PFA, has appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against FIFA's decision not to sanction Israel over clubs based in occupied West Bank settlements. A senior PFA official said, as visa issues affecting several delegations added to tensions before the FIFA Congress. The PFA has long argued that clubs based in Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, which are illegal under international law, should not compete in leagues run by the Israel Football Association, IFA. An Afghanistan women's refugee team have been granted eligibility for international competitions nearly 5 years after the players fled their country's Taliban rule. The FIFA Council, meeting in Vancouver, Canada, agreed on Tuesday to amend its regulations to recognise the refugee team, who play under the name Afghan Women United.
And at a U.S. military base in Central California, 4-seater all-terrain vehicles roam hillside trails. This is a training exercise, but not for the people in the vehicles. This is an effort to train AI models to enter conflict zones. And the autonomous military ATVs are operated by Scout AI, a startup founded in 2024 by Kobe Adcock and Colin Otis that calls itself a frontier lab for defense. And the company said on Wednesday that it has raised a $100 million Series A round led by Align Ventures and Draper Associates, following its $15 million seed round in January 2025.
The European Commission has raised concerns that Alphabet has not provided fair access to key Android features for competing AI services under the Digital Markets Act. Because Android is classified as a gatekeeper under the DMA, it is required to give third-party companies equal access to important phone and tablet functions.
And Adobe has opened the public beta of Firefly AI Assistant inside Adobe Firefly, adding a chat-based creative agent to its AI studio. Firefly AI Assistant is designed to turn text prompts into multi-step creative workflows across Adobe software.
Russia has launched a new immigration pathway to attract global talent, offering fast-track residency and work rights to highly skilled foreign nationals under a special impatriate status. The program, introduced in April 2026, allows professionals such as scientists, entrepreneurs, researchers, and cultural figures to settle permanently in Russia through a simplified visa process.
Forces have destroyed several Afghan Taliban posts and vehicles in Balochistan's Chaman sector, security sources said on Wednesday. The operations, part of the ongoing Operation Ghazab Lil Haq, were a response to the unprovoked aggression by Afghan Taliban forces and terrorists on the Pak-Afghan border, according to the sources.
And Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Wednesday said that the country's weekly oil bill has reached $800 million amid the war in the Middle East. Global fuel prices have skyrocketed over the past 2 months in the wake of the US and Israel launching joint strikes on Iran.
Karachi Mayor Murtaza Wahab on Wednesday expressed objection to comparisons between Karachi and Lahore in terms of infrastructure and governance, noting that both provincial capitals had different ground realities. Speaking alongside Punjab Housing Minister Bilal Yassin in Lahore, Wahab said, "When you compare Karachi to Lahore, this comparison is improper because of the population. We get water from a distance of 125 kilometers. Our daily water requirement is 1,100 million gallons per day, MGD, while our daily supply is 550 MGD, and the population continues to grow. Footballers covering their mouths during a confrontation with an opponent or any other player on the pitch will be given a red card under a new rule approved by the International Football Association Board. The board held a SAF meeting in Vancouver on Tuesday to pass FIFA-approved amendments to address inappropriate behavior ahead of the World Cup in North America.
London, United Kingdom. Recent headlines from British newspapers speak to different areas of tension in the UK due to the United States-Israel war on Iran, economic woes, political friction and worries about the country's readiness for the future, strategically and militarily, if the conflict persists. On Thursday, the Financial Times blared, "Consumer confidence slumps to two-year low." As The Guardian reported, UK braces for price rises driven by Iran war as economic confidence plummets, and UK prepared to deploy RAF Typhoons to keep Strait of Hormuz open after Iran war. Earlier this month, The Independent reported that Prime Minister Keir Starmer risked US President Donald Trump's wrath as he refuses to let US use UK bases for strikes on Iran's infrastructure. And on Sunday, quoting a minister, The Times said the economic fallout from the Iran war would last at least 8 months.
And a trial has opened in a military court in Jakarta for 4 Indonesian soldiers accused of carrying out an acid attack on an activist who campaigned against the expansion of the role of the armed forces in government. Military prosecutors charged the group, including Edi Sudarko, Budi Haryanto, Widi Cahyono, Nandala Dwi Prasetya and Sami Latka, on Wednesday with serious meditated assault, which carries a maximum sentence of 12 years under Indonesia's criminal code.
The culturally rich Kalash valleys in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have been added to the UNESCO World Heritage Tentative List, marking a major step toward global recognition of the region's unique heritage. The listing includes the 3 remote valleys of Bumburet, Birir and Rambor, home to the indigenous Kalasha community, which has preserved its distinct polytheistic religion, traditions and way of life for centuries. The OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra is now official in China alongside a new gaming controller built for the device. Unlike the standard Ace 6 and Ace 6T models, the Ultra version uses a MediaTek chipset and focuses heavily on gaming performance, battery life and cooling features. The OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra features a 6.78-inch BOE OLED display with a resolution of 1272 by 2, 765 Hz refresh rate. It is a 10-bit panel with support for Dolby Vision, HDR10+, and 100% DCI-P3 color coverage. A dangerous trend has emerged in Karachi, where residents have started storing gas in plastic balloons amid worsening gas shortages, raising serious safety concerns. In areas like Orangi Town, particularly Mominabad, locals say prolonged gas load shedding and low pressure have forced them to adopt risky alternatives to meet daily cooking needs. K2 Airways has started cargo flight operations between Pakistan and Navoi in Uzbekistan, marking a new link between the two countries in the aviation sector. The airline began operations on April 28, using a Boeing 737-400 cargo aircraft, expanding freight connectivity and supporting trade movement between Pakistan and Uzbekistan.
And Mandi Bahoudin, a suspect wanted in the kidnapping and murder of a 6-year-old boy, was killed on Wednesday after allegedly coming under fire from his own accomplice during an encounter with police in Chak Sabu and Pindi Batian Tehsil of Hafizabad district. Officials said Hafizabad police spokesperson Head Constable Waqar Yusuf told Dawn that the body of the missing child was recovered from nearby fields during a search operation, and it was taken into custody and shifted to a hospital for post-mortem examination while legal proceedings were initiated.
An Indian man dug up his sister's body and carried it to a bank branch to prove she was dead after being refused access to her account without a death certificate. The lender had said Jittu Munda, from a constitutionally recognized tribal community in the eastern state of Odisha, went to an Indian overseas bank branch on Monday to withdraw money from his deceased sister's account.
And Pakistan has gone 3 for 3 at the Indian Film Festival in Los Angeles, IFFLA, with all 3 selections from Pakistani filmmakers receiving honorary mentions in their respective categories. Pakistani projects displayed at IFFLA included Samad Kusat's Lali and Seemab Gul's Ghost School, both of which bagged mentions from the grand jury in the feature film category.
As the war in Iran enters its 9th week with no clear end in sight, shipping traffic in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz has been completely reshaped, heavily disrupting global markets and supply chains for oil, natural gas, fertilizer and other essential products. Before the United States and Israel launched their attacks on Iran in late February, about 3,000 vessels typically passed through the Strait of Hormuz each month, according to Lloyd's List Intelligence. Oil tankers passing through accounted for an estimated 15 million barrels per day of crude and other oil product exports, data from the analytics firm Kepler shows, amounting to about 1/5 of the world's oil trade.
And the pace of tropical forest destruction eased last year from a record high, but has remained at alarming levels, according to a new study that praises decisive government action. The world lost 4.3 million hectares, 10.6 million acres of tropical primary rainforest in 2025, down 36% from the previous year, researchers from the World Resources Institute, WRI, and the University of Maryland said on Wednesday.
Federal Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi chaired an important meeting in Islamabad where it was decided that the entire record of the Capital Development Authority, CDA, will be digitized within 120 days. The minister said the initiative will improve transparency, speed up official processes, and allow citizens to check the updated status of their applications themselves. Work on the new terminal at Allama Iqbal International Airport has entered its final phase, with authorities expecting to open the upgraded facility for passengers in Lahore later this year. Once completed, the new terminal will double the airport's annual passenger handling capacity from 5 million to 10 million.
Ahead of World Environment Day 2026, the Punjab Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has intensified its crackdown on plastic pollution, announcing a complete ban on plastic bags below 75 microns in the coming weeks. The move is part of a broader initiative to establish plastic-free zones in major city markets across the province.
Apple is expected to unveil iOS 27 on June 8 during its annual Worldwide Developers Conference. The software update is expected to introduce a delayed, smarter version of Siri powered by Google's Gemini technology, as well as new AI photo editing tools in the Photos app, as reported by Bloomberg.
And the Excise, Taxation and Narcotics Control Department Punjab will introduce 5 new vehicle registration number series for cars next month, expanding options for motorists seeking preferred number plates. The department said vehicle owners will be able to choose numbers from the new series, while premium or fancy numbers will be offered through an e-auction system.
Tap Send, the leading remittance app recognised by the State Bank of Pakistan as the #1 app for sending money to Pakistan by users and volume sent, has partnered with Olympic champion Arshad Nadeem to highlight the contributions of under-recognised athletes and overseas Pakistanis supporting families back home. The initiative comes at a time when cricket continues to dominate national attention, often overshadowing achievements in other sports. Nadeem, who secured Pakistan's first Olympic gold medal in 4 decades, is the only individual athlete from Pakistan to have secured an Olympic gold medal. Previous gold medals for Pakistan were all won by the hockey team. Nadeem is among a small group of athletes who have brought global recognition to the country despite limited support. The United Arab Emirates said on Tuesday that it was quitting OPEC, dealing a heavy blow to the oil exporting cartel and its de facto leader, Saudi Arabia, at a time when the Iran war has caused a historic energy shock and rattled the global economy. But what is OPEC and how does it impact consumers?